1,
2, 3,
4, 5.
Should we remove physical education from the school curriculum? In the school system today, students are often allowed 20 to 30 minutes 2 times a week to go toward the gym. They are also allowed the same amount of time to go outside every day as long as weather permits. Although some look down on the time being allowed in physical education, I believe students should be allowed additional time in order to fully reach their educational peak performance. I work as an elementary after-school worker and have seen firsthand the benefits that physical education brings into a school system. This is why physical education courses are necessary in the learning process, because of the positive influence it brings on schoolwork, the benefits it brings towards the behavior of the students, and the positive changes it brings towards various clinical diseases. So first, I'm going to talk about the effects that physical education has on academic performance. Although this study was not as recent, in 1994, there was 2 different groups. An experimental group that went outside and played outside for a couple minutes before going to take a test, and the other was the control group that did not go outside and just went ahead and took the test. The experimental group ended up having much higher scores than the one that did not go outside. According to the WGU, Nancy Barilli in 2018 states that oxygen flow is increased to the brain in order to further develop your brain and enable more thought processes at once. The way this works is that there are such things called neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters send different things through your brain through a chemical process that will actually make you have better thought processing and do them much faster. According to a blog called The Schoolyard in 2015, it shows that 50% of school time, students aren't actually paying attention and are actually daydreaming. So what will this additional time actually hurt? As previously stated, I work at an elementary school after school program, and oftentimes the students will not focus on their work if they're not first able just to go outside for a couple of minutes or to go towards the gym. Next, I'm going to talk about how the behavior of the students changes. The first thing that happens is an improvement on concentration. Doing things such as walking, running, or jogging, or different things such as team games, whether it's volleyball, soccer, or basketball, can actually help students to concentrate harder on school. This concentration does not last forever, as after an hour, you need to go outside for another 5 to 10 minutes to keep your concentration going. The next thing it helps is fidgeting. Fidgeting is an extreme problem with kids in the school system today. A daydreaming effect often comes into play when a student is fidgeting, whether it's doing something like looking around the room, looking at other students, or just noticing how you're fidgeting. Oftentimes it will distract you and distract others. Oftentimes leading into that, students will look at you, whether you're tapping a pencil, moving your head around, or bouncing, or a student moving around the classroom, and it'll obviously take away from the way that they learn. Some of the changes that happen for clinical diseases, the first one I want to cover is ADHD. ADHD is a problem in the school system, and according to the CDC, in 2016 alone, 9.4% of children aged 2 to 17 were found to have ADHD. And this is a staggering stat because not everyone goes out and gets tested for ADHD. It obviously, alongside daydreaming, makes it harder to remember due dates, or what lesson you learn, or what homework you have to complete later. Exercise is just one of the easiest ways to help control things such as ADHD. The chemicals that get released by things such as neurotransmitters will allow more time to sit down and concentrate on whatever you're doing. Taking the time out of class just to focus on 1 or 2 students that suffers from something such as ADHD can actually hinder the performance of those who are also in the class. There's also a staggering effect towards obesity rates. Obesity is another huge problem in the United States, and an overwhelming 61% of Americans have been found to be either overweight or obese. Alongside this, there is somewhere between 15 to 20% of American children who are considered obese. And this is insane, because this isn't just those who are overweight, this is those who are obese. These stats were found on the WebMD, where Melina Rattini spoke on behalf of her blog in 2020. She said that diseases such as asthma, Heart disease and strokes can actually result from this. Another thing is type 2 diabetes, which has become a growing problem. Realistically, if we were to extend physical education periods, not all students will take up on that offer. Not all the individuals will cut down their weight. But this could be the solution to cutting down our obesity rates in the United States at an early age until these kids are at least able to understand the consequences of things such as obesity. To further my points, although exercise to some parents as well as some students may seem like a waste of time in the schooling process, it is essential to the further development of their education. The different impacts it has on learning, such as how the brain processes thoughts and how it further develops the brain, demonstrate how helpful it can be to aid not only students, but teachers as well. Outside of these 5 to 10 minute spurts where students will go outside and play, there's not better solutions to fix things such as ADHD or classroom negligence. Through different studies and my personal experiences, this is truly the easiest solution and should show why physical education is so needed in our school system.
5,
4,
3, 2,
1.